there was the Colombia protests about Palestine, right? These mobs took control of a building on Columbia, being utter pills and violent, threatening innocent students, a whole thing.
Yeah.
And then they proceeded to demand that they be provided with food because of the human right to snacks.
I have a right to eat goldfish.
Where I'm like, when we talk about human rights, and human rights are an important topic, and we have strong opinions, but they are from God, not from you.
Never see the violence inherent in the system! Help! Help! I'm being repressed! Bloody peasant! Oh, what a giveaway! Did you hear that? Did you hear that, eh? That's what I'm on about. Did you see him repressing me? You saw it, didn't you?
Welcome to Help. We're being repressed. Where we are repressed. Still.
As always. Anywho, today we're going to be talking about one of Canon's newish books.
Newish. When did it come out?
I
I don't know either.
In recent history, but not too recent.
But pretty recent.
My Dear Hemlock.
Yeah.
And its inspiration, the SCREWTAPE letters.
Mm-hmm. It's basically SCREWTAPE letters, but for women. Specifically.
For the women.
It's not like SCREWTAPE letters is not for women.
It's just, the patient is a guy.
Versus the patient being a woman,
Big difference. Anywho. So, to be completely honest, I hadn't read SCREWTAPE letters before.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a deliberate choice. It was just simply when we moved at the end of my time in high school, several books that I was actively reading got packed and disappeared into somewhere. And so that was like Crime and Punishment, the SCREWTAPE letters, just feel like there was another, but
just gone.
Where I just didn't finish it, and I revisited it this summer. Revisited it. Words are hard.
That's why we have a podcast.
That's why we have a podcast.
So
we're practicing words. Mm-hmm. And revisited it. I read it this summer.
Boom.
Followed by My Dear Hemlock. And you just read My Dear Hemlock today?
Mm-hmm. This morning.
Speed reader.
It's only like 180
I read it on Saturday.
pages, I think. So, quick read.
I think it's like 177.
178?
I want to go with 177.
Make a bet.
And SCREWTAPE, our copy, was 174.
Okay, so about the same length.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Very close. I think obviously, both books have their entertainment aspects, but that's definitely not the point for this particular style of literature. I think both of them are very much trying to discuss and point out flaws, assumptions, and lines of thought that you might not have thought of or thought of like that before. So a lot of our behavior to day, we'll think about what we're doing, but we don't always think about the underlying assumptions that are backing that behavior.
It's a fun way, I think, because obviously the format is the devil's writing letters. Mm-hmm. So it's the mentor of the devil in charge of the man tempter, or the woman and giving them advice and talking about the situation. And I think it's a very fun way to go into like the head of the person, into their temptations and what they're thinking about and the exact like avenues of thought without being like super weird and like with a lot of like psychoanalysis and that kind of thing. So you still get the thought process, but you get it through the perspective of an outside source instead of the person's own head, which I like.
Yeah.
So I like the format.
Lends itself to a different kind of honesty.
Yeah, it's the honesty of an outside perspective, but on the inside.
Mm-hmm. And obviously we believe it's in the realm of metaphor. I have known people who do think that we have this special attention from demons on the regular, and it's always funny. And
yeah,
I'd be like, but couldn't this problem be demons speaking into my head? And I was like, no,
it's just
you're not that special.
No, I've definitely been at Bible studies where the person is talking and they're like, the devil's just trying to get me. And I'm like, well, he doesn't need to. You can do that to yourself. But
yeah, you're
it's
already fallen.
metaphorical.
You don't need special one-on-one attention from Satan himself or one of his cohorts in order to
necessarily.
do basic sins.
Yeah, it's not necessarily theologically,
They're busy with the billionaires.
Yeah. But it is a fun format, and I enjoyed both books.
Yeah.
I thought both are good.
Uh-huh.
I think Screwtape it's Lewis.
It's Lewis.
So he's really good. But in The Imitation for women, I think there's a lot of insightful observations that girls don't usually think about, and very like specific temptations that girls have, especially at the beginning of the book.
Felt pointed.
Felt very pointed. I mean, it started,
As it should.
It started the book with her as kind of a Christian, leaving the faith.
But grew up in the Christian house, but wasn't truly a believer.
Mm-hmm.
And wasn't like necessarily a great Christian house. She's surrounded by hypocrites, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. And then going apostate, kind of like being pulled in and then coming back.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what I really liked was the beginning after her marriage and the discussion there about the relationship between men and women and how they treat each other.
Mm-hmm. I do think while there is great insight throughout the book, and it is a recommend.
Yes, we say yes.
Yes,
and
we say yes. Okay, because we're the authorities.
Definitely.
I do
and
think
Canon isn't trying to sell the book or anything.
I do. No, it's what?
No, we're
What?
completely objective.
Well, technically, we don't make money if they sell the book, so we are pretty objective as far as the thing goes. But I do think while there's insight throughout, I think some of the most insightful was in that section that was right after the patient's marriage. Just because that's when I'm talking about how you don't think about underlying assumptions when you act certain ways. This is very much that. So, for example, one of the things that she talked about was withholding praise as some sort of reward that can only be given when you're in 100% approval of everything that's going on, that you should not reward with basic things like thank you. Thanks for doing that. That was so helpful. Anything that should count as a quote-unquote bare minimum. Feminists are big fans of this.
Yeah, no,
I said that because I know Ameera's going to go off.
I hate that. This part especially I think is really relevant for girls our age, but especially just girls in this culture now, where I've seen a lot of girls when they talk about guys and getting in a relationship and girls being so happy, then all the comments on like Instagram or wherever it is, you know, are like, that's bare minimum.
Girl, that's the bare minimum.
Like, stop being happy with the bare minimum. Like,
don't say thank you. He should have been doing that anyway.
He should have done it anyways, so why would you thank him for it? Mm-hmm. It's like, that's ridiculous. And this is what that section of the book really started talking about, which I liked. I went away from the mic.
Yeah, stick at the mic.
I liked it. Like, shit.
Stop shaking. Yeah, like the idea that you can't be grateful for mundane things is incredibly destructive, because it's destructive to all of your relationships, where having the ability to do little things for each other, small kindnesses, small helps, like, and that's very healthy in any situation. And the way that you feed that is by both of you living in gratitude towards it.
Exactly. And what's funny is I also feel like...
And not measuring how much people are doing,
right now
whether it's
especially
worth it.
are going to be like, it's bare minimum. You don't have to appreciate it. But if you reverse it, they're going to be really, really mad at the guys for not appreciating their actions.
Yeah. Imagine if you... And you don't have to imagine very hard. There's some pretty bad male podcasts out there. Imagine some male podcaster going, you shouldn't thank your girl for doing the dishes or making you dinner because that's the bare minimum.
She's a stay-at-home mom.
That's what she's supposed to do.
She's supposed to do it. So why
don't
would you thank her for
Don't
it?
tell her the food tasted good. Don't help her out. It's the bare minimum. How do you think girls would feel?
Great.
Rage.
No, we love it.
The thing is, in some relationships, that is going to be just a regular rhythm of like, yeah, I am going to be doing the dishes. I do have a regular rhythm of these chores, but the way that you have that be healthy is by having that be appreciated. And the reverse is true too, where he's got his rhythm of things that he does for you, and you should be meeting it all with gratitude. Like, you should never become so entitled and complacent that because something is regular or you want it to be regular, it doesn't deserve gratitude.
If you're a kid and your mom makes you dinner every single day, you thank her every single day.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter that she's a mom and, you know, she's like,
yeah, that's another.
God would want her to make you food. Like,
yeah, because
you still thank her.
People talk about gratitude right now like it can only apply to things that were not, like, that they weren't obligated to do. So you definitely have this conversation with parent relationships as well, where obviously the parents should provide food for their children. They are morally obligated to do so. It was given to their, like, you were given a child, take care of it.
Feed the baby.
So when people go, you should be grateful to your parents for feeding you and for providing for you and doing their best to take care of you. And I have heard people argue against that, being like, no, it's owed, because imagine if they didn't. I'm like, well, just because they're morally obligated to do it does not mean that the answer is not gratitude.
Yeah, it's
because,
like, okay, they're still putting effort in.
Apply it to your relationship with God.
Yeah.
It's like these little gratitudes for everything. That's how you create a happy life and a good relationship with everyone, including your creator.
And let's be real, it's like you don't actually deserve to have your parents feed you.
Yeah, your parents have a moral obligation from God to provide for you. That does not mean that you were born with the right to good food.
The right to be fed.
The right to just be spoiled. They're like, so
that's actually another thing.
We have it backwards.
I think that's another thing.
You have an obligation to give, not an obligation to receive. So always receive with gratitude and, you know.
Yeah.
Like, we've got it all backwards, that we start thinking about what you're owed instead of what you're obligated.
And that's another thing that's actually a big cultural phenomenon,
mm-hmm.
I think, is people talking about, like, our rights.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, part of that is because we're Americans, and so, you know, we're all about the rights. And sure, sometimes that's great. We like the right to speech. You know, you like all that good jazz
stuff.
However, everyone starts talking about, I have the right to do this. I have the right for this. I have the right. And they make it an expectation. Like, I actually deserve this simply by my existence. It's like, no.
Just so you know, we're not just slandering. There was the Colombia protests about Palestine, right? Good times. If you haven't seen the videos of my brother being awesome, you should.
He is occasionally.
It happens. So these mobs took control of a building on Colombia, being utter pills and violent, threatening innocent students, a whole thing.
Yeah.
And then they proceeded to demand that they be provided with food because of the human right to snacks.
I have a right to eat goldfish.
Where I'm like, you're trespassing, destroying property, threatening the students under the care of the university. It's on video, like someone threatening to accuse one of my brother's friends with assault, like threatening to ruin his life, like. And you think you have the nerve to say that these people owe you provisions.
Exactly. Everyone's really, really highly delusional about what we deserve.
Yep. So when we talk about human rights, and human rights are an important topic, and we have strong opinions, but they are from God, not from you.
Yeah.
I was not born having accomplished everything to deserve the world. Like, existing is not the same. Like, well, just people talk about, like, all you have to do is just exist and you deserve the princess treatment, you deserve the world, you deserve it. Like, and I'm like, I don't deserve a gosh darn thing.
Which means when people do things for you,
it's
you
amazing.
Should be grateful.
So yeah,
because they don't have. Well, I mean, they do kind of have to, but
sometimes they have to.
Depends.
Sometimes they don't have to. But regardless, it was more than you deserved.
Exactly.
And so you receive everything with gratitude.
Which is why I liked this section of the book, because it was talking about how you still need to thank him. You need to do those little things. And it also talked about just politeness.
Yeah, but just still on gratitude before we move on to other benefits of this section is that gratitude is a returning theme through a chunk of this book as a really big protection against sin.
I think that was actually kind of the conclusion of the book, is that what protected her the most was humility and gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
It was reaching a point where she knew she did not deserve it, but it was given to her, and to appreciate everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, so it took her away from, you know, thinking badly of her husband and thinking like, you know, poorly of her children, and just being grateful for every opportunity that she's been given with them.
Yeah, and gratitude makes you a good giver as well.
Yeah.
Because if you deserve everything, then what obligation do you have to give? It's like, but if you are born into this world deserving of nothing, and you are given hands and feet and eyes and taste, and like even before getting to like whether or not you have good parents, whether or not you had a good school, the fact that you had food every day, that like just being alive in this world, like, and all of that is purely a gift, then you do find yourself in that position to give to others and be like, I have received so much that I have so much to give, even when you have relatively little. I do think that is one of my favorite things at New St. Andrews is the what's the word? The slogan type thing. The to
I
who,
have no
to
idea
whom
what you're
much
doing.
is motto. To whom much is given, much is required.
Yeah. And that's great. And then there's also the fact that there's different flaws discussed in the book, and specifically like envy and covetousness, which is also solved by gratitude.
Yep. A lot
Where
of
it's
things
like,
are solved by
instead of doing
gratitude.
the sideways glancing and comparing yourself to others and being like, but I was not given that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a realization that you weren't deserving of that, and you were given what you have. And if you're grateful for what you have, you're much less likely to be envious of what others have.
Yep. True.
And so I thought that was great. I also liked the fact that in this section of the book, I think she was talking about how people cover up their lack of gratitude by calling it honesty.
Yeah.
Where,
Do the same with rudeness.
yeah, they do. But
I'm just keeping it real.
I'm just blunt. It's like, no, you're actually nasty.
You're a jerk is what
like,
you are.
not actually the same thing, but I'm glad you're delusional, you know?
Delulu is not the Salulu.
No.
Anywho.
Yeah, but this part of the book that I'm remembering, it was her saying that people say it's honesty because if I thank you for that,
Yep.
then you're not, it's lying because I know you're not doing all of these other things.
On the topic of praise, too.
It's like, you're not doing all these other things that I want you to be doing. Like, you took out the trash, but then you put your dish in the sink and not in the dishwasher.
And so it would be dishonest of
For me to
be
be
thank
like,
you
yeah,
for
it'd be
taking out the
dishonest
trash
of me to be like, good job, babe, because you didn't do a good job. You put it
in all of the areas.
you should have done everything.
The other thing that's a result of this attitude of I am the giver of praise and I can only give it when it's deserved. Like, I can't just say thank you for things that aren't worthy of my thanks, is just another thing that's been twisted back on its head. Like, since when are you supposed to just be worrying about other people and their behavior? Like, the first thing that you should be thinking of is how ought I to be?
Yeah.
So, like, rather than,
You know,
do
planking
they
your own eye and all
deserve
that.
Yeah, oh yeah. Does the Bible talk about that?
No.
What?
That was just
You
made that up.
phrase.
Poetic of me, I know.
Very poetic. So it's just like you're supposed to be thinking, how am I supposed to be? Not, do they deserve me to be like this? Because the only person you really owe is God, right? Like, that's the first person, I guess, yeah, you know, persons.
Yeah.
That should be your first thought is, how does he want me to be? And it's like, okay, so your guy did leave his dish in the sink and you had said repeatedly not to, but he also took the trash out and brought you home a coffee and
mowed the lawn.
And mowed the lawn. and you're called to thank him.
I also like
regardless of whether he's covered all of the bases.
Yeah, I also like the fact that when they pointed out this honesty thing, it's like, and yet when we don't thank him for we don't call it dishonest.
Yeah, when you're ignoring all the good things.
When you're ignoring all the good things and, just pointing at
this
the bad.
honesty thing did really hit as like, yeah, that is girlhood right there.
That's girlhood.
Because I have distinct memories of being like 14 and fighting with my mom because she dared. Actually, this was younger than this. It was totally like 12. Thank heavens.
You weren't a teenager yet.
I was a baby. I was totally like 12. And she dared to want me to be cheerful going to school.
Crazy.
She wanted
really
me,
hot take.
She wanted me to cheerfully say goodbye when she cheerfully said goodbye because she is all the colors of cheerful.
Mm-hmm. And a morning person.
And a morning person.
Unlike everybody else.
Not a morning person. Not a morning person. And also not a school person since like
ever
2nd grade.
It's very uneducated of you.
Yeah, no, I did not like school. And I did not like mornings. And so she would be dropping us off because the reason I know I was 12 is because like much older than that, Rory was driving us to school. And then I was driving us to school.
But she was dropping you off.
So she was dropping us off. So it was before that. It was junior high. And I remember because she's like, Lucia, you can be cheerful. You can say goodbye.
She did not
in like
use
a happy
tone.
voice. No, but she was doing her serious mom voice. She's like, you can do that. And I was like, no, because that would be hypocritical. Because in my brain, I'm grumpy, which means if I pretend to be cheerful, that's lying.
It's dishonest to the world.
I'm like, I would hate to be dishonest to you because that's a sin, right? And she's like, Lucia.
Yeah.
Because it is such a bogus excuse. Like, it's really bogus. Yeah, you're supposed to... Because one thing that our families always distinguish between is happy and cheerful.
Yeah.
So happy is the happy feelings, right?
Dopamine.
I saw a cute puppy video.
Yeah.
Like, happy. Cheerful is action.
Yeah.
It is, I'm being cheerful.
You're not fussing.
Yeah.
You're
smiling. We're going like, here we go. Let's do this, regardless of the situation and the current chemicals.
Yeah.
So it was obviously an incredibly bogus excuse because I full well knew the difference between happy and cheerful. But it's funny because that is an excuse that a lot of people, I do think specifically girls, will make. Which is the
I can't be dishonest.
I can't not be true to myself. I can't be dishonest. That would be lying. And I'm like, yeah, no, we all know that is completely fake excuse making right there.
Yeah, one of the other parts of the book that I liked is when she talked about abstinence, I think. And she discussed the fact that some people have the inclination to think that if you're suffering, it's like more godly.
Yep.
There's like, even if it's suffering unnecessarily.
Yeah, because can you be godly in suffering?
It's like doing,
yes.
It's the lack of something makes it godly. Mm-hmm. I think is what she said.
If something is hard.
Yeah.
If you're giving something up.
She talked
about, what if God gave it to you to enjoy?
She was talking especially
and you're
about
refusing to enjoy it.
Yeah, she was talking about food, I think, as an example.
Yeah.
Of one of the things that women do specifically. And I mean, since...
Like, somehow you're being good if you're foregoing joy.
Yeah.
And Ameera and I have talked about this before because the amount of... not to throw shade on any specific people.
You're about to throw shade at you.
Let's just say that I think that some generations of women have grown up in less than ideal diet cultures.
Yeah.
And so being athletes and Ameera having dietary issues.
Now where she has to, you?
Well, you have to forego like
gluten,
unfortunately.
So sad.
And it's like,
for my
but
cake.
Since we're athletes, like you sometimes go like, yeah, we're gonna eat a little healthier just for this season, or like you're sometimes doing
you
stuff.
Eat for goals.
Yeah,
like,
you eat for goals.
Normal.
Or you're just not eating gluten because it makes you sick.
Also true.
And then, or sometimes I just don't really feel like that right now, or it's not my favorite thing, so like whatever. And then the amount of older women that'll be like, you're being so good. You're being so, like, look at you not eating. You're being, quote, you're being so good. And I've heard this from so many people, and I've heard it from people in different countries. So this is, this is like international problems. I had some of those old women in Ireland offer me biscuits. And when I said no, they're like, you're being so good. Why are you being so good? They're being so good.
It's like, wait, why?
And I'm like, why is it
not
being good to not enjoy a cookie? Like, I mean, obviously sometimes you're locking in, you're doing like, but to have the instinct of to not enjoy something is being good.
Yeah, so she was talking about like this women having like a sense of superiority in different circumstance by being like, oh, I'm not doing that. Like,
I don't eat that.
I don't eat sugar. I don't eat like these different things. And it's not saying that there's not reasons to not. Like, obviously,
but
there are.
The simple act of not enjoying something doesn't make you better than other people.
And it was also talking about, like, sex and, like, when you're married and stuff and just being like, well, it's more holy to not.
Yeah.
You're like,
no. When God gives you something and says, enjoy it,
and
it's
you're like,
not... Like, and then you go, actually, God, I think it's holier if I don't enjoy it.
It's holier.
I'm like, bold, okay.
Yeah, it's holier if I don't enjoy your gifts, actually.
See, earlier this summer, I talked to a young Catholic woman who is considering nunnery.
Does she listen to this?
She's in the nunnery.
So she can't.
She can't. Well, she's...
So we can slander her if we want.
But I'm not going to slander her, but... one of the things that I wanted to focus on talking to her about this, hopefully she's not in the nunnery permanently. So maybe she'll hear this later in a year.
In a year. But if she's out, it's okay. So
it'll be fine. One of the things I was trying to talk to her about is like, you have to know that there's this temptation among not just Catholics, but just Christians as a whole can very frequently have that idea of suffering is holy. Not enjoying something is holy. Giving things up is holy. And I'm like, God sometimes calls you to give things up.
Yeah.
And God will put you through suffering. You do not have to manufacture it.
No, it will
like,
happen
it'll
by
come.
itself. There's going to be enough suffering in your life.
God has had, like, he's got that covered. He's got the trials all set up and everything.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
So you do not have to manufacture it.
Just to feel holier.
Just to feel holier.
Also,
so I'm like, if I cut off my hand, this is what I told her. I'm like, if I cut off my hand and was like, I'm going to live the rest of my life without a hand, because every time I think about how inconvenient it is and awful it is, I'll think about how much I'm giving up and how grateful I am for God. And like, I'm like, that's a dumb thing to do. Like, God gave me a hand. He wants me to use that hand.
Yeah.
Don't cut it off and be like, nailed it.
It's not exact. It's like, let's not bury our talents. Let's destroy them.
Yeah. It's like, what if I make my talent suck?
No.
Yeah.
But it's actually, it's one of those things that men, I think also have this problem. So this
men, the suffering one, that is present in both of the genders.
Yes. So, but I think a way that it specifically relates to women might be in terms of how it feels, where it's like, okay, so you're actually just defining holy by feeling.
Yeah.
And you're like, so this gives me the sensation of being better. And you're like up on your high horse.
Beware of such sensations.
Beware of such sensations.
If you're like, I'm feeling like really better than other people right now, maybe get worried.
Reevaluate, you know? But yeah, I thought that part was good. It was a good discussion.
Yeah, I'm like, that one is strong for, like, strong lesson for both genders. Good thing to talk about. The other thing on her discussion of sex and marriage is definitely another one that I think women right now need to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Because the idea of, she's talking specifically about starting to think about it as a duty and the fact that you're giving favors.
Yeah.
Instead of it being something that God created for both man and wife to enjoy together.
She was saying women start thinking about it not as a mutual enjoyment.
Yeah. Like she's bestowing enjoyment upon the guy instead of enjoying it herself.
Right. And then it's actually just it was just a funny discussion.
And it's yet another thing that you can use as punishment or reward.
Right.
Which gives you
It's
a very
it's a way
toxic
that women
relationship.
try to, I think, like have control over the guy
Mm-hmm.
is by using it as like this reward system.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Reward and punishment.
yeah. One thing I also liked is her talking about, I don't remember which part of the book this was in. I think it was at the beginning as well. When she mentioned the fact that men are actually more motivated by praise.
Yes, she did. She did hit on the pragmatic.
And I think this
part.
relates to like respect.
Mhm.
And when the Bible calls men to love their wives and women to respect their husbands.
There's a reason it's put in that order, because you say that on the internet and people come for you.
Oh,
Right.
no.
Oh no, the patriarchy. And it's like, well, no, the reason it's put in this order isn't because of a toxic servitude situation.
No, it's women are more inclined to willingly love their husbands
and not willingly respect.
and not willingly.
And men frequently speak in respect and not so much love. So you're being called to the thing that the other person needs and that you are less inclined to do.
Exactly.
So on that pragmatic side, where she's talking about praise and withholding praise and gratitude, it's just men don't work like that.
No, it's part of the reason it's going to become a toxic relationship. It's not
It's
only
that will genuinely not work.
it won't work. Like he's not going to do his dishes if you start nagging him all of the time. Like,
yeah, nagging works 100% of the time.
nagging is not great, guys.
10 out of 10. But
Lucia approves.
Well, we talked before a bit about like my babysitting, you know, and it's kind of relevant actually because we're talking about, well, we were talking about the intelligence of kids.
Yeah.
Right. This is both genders. People frequently act like how you treat them.
Oh yeah.
It's just like how people work. And obviously some people are more or less inclined to it and the genders work differently, but it's just very common that people will respond in kind. That's how
and
people work.
she actually talked about this when she talked about child rearing
Mm-hmm.
later in the book when the woman has a baby. And she says try to make her like feel superior to her husband in knowing what to do and always like nag him and kind of be like, gosh, you're holding the baby bottle wrong, you know, type thing. And just reinforce this idea that he's actually incapable when it comes to taking care of a child.
And discourage him from taking care of the
yes.
child.
And then it's like,
and then being mad that he's not helping.
when the kid grows up a bit, she's going to be really upset with him for not being more involved. When it's
After
like, well,
she punished him for trying to be involved.
Yeah, you were a helicopter mom and pushing him away from the kid.
And wanted to do everything.
And wanted to do everything because he couldn't do it right, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, shocker, he's stops trying to do it right.
Yeah.
Like, it's that kind of thing where it's like,
But
okay.
yeah, so you treat a kid like they're smart. They'll step up and try to be
reach
smart.
it.
You treat a girl like she's an emotional wreck. She's going to stop controlling her emotions because you're going to treat her like that anyway. So
it's
whatever.
An expectation.
And you treat a guy with no respect and with mockery, and he's not going to step up to be worthy of respect.
Yeah, he's not
so
going to
she
become
did
more...
say, like, men will rise to meet praise and fall to meet insults, is I believe what she said.
Something
like that.
Approximately.
Yeah. So it's like, it's not just, oh, this is what you're morally obligated to do. It's the fact that if you do what you're morally obligated to do, it'll work better.
Right? Shocker.
God built the world. It works. I promise.
If you follow the rules, actually, also talked about this in the book.
Yeah.
It's like, it turns out, if you follow the rules and laws that God gave you, everything works better.
Mm-hmm. Life is happier.
Yeah, it works more smoothly. The family actually functions like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go.
Because the proof is in the pudding, as they say.
Turns out.
You can look at the world as it is now. And we've been getting some attention online recently as a community, right? A little bit. I don't know when this podcast will come out, so maybe it'll be old news by then.
Maybe.
I had multiple people texting me being like, your grandpa's on the news. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we know. And so everybody's squabbling and attacking us and fun stuff all around.
Good times.
But I'm like, you can kind of just look at the different communities in the world currently, the different cultures, and just look at the families. Tell me what's working.
Yeah.
It's like, who is happy? whose children grow up and love them still, who stays in contact with all their extended family and meets up for holidays and like is building each other up
and doesn't hate each
other, like building communities around them. And what communities are just completely and utterly broken. And a lot of these people who are pushing, like, just, like, I'd say the left, but it's obviously not just the left.
No.
And it's not just America. Is you're just looking at secular spaces, and they're really, really broken, and they really hate each other. And when we're talking about the fact that there's literally arguments online about not being grateful to your parents or not owing anything to your children, like the generations genuinely despising each other, and it's all breaking down. You're like, oh, so doing your best, because obviously the Christian communities aren't perfect, but doing your best to pursue...
What do you mean?
What? Okay. Doing your best to pursue what God wants you to do does lead to a joy that's not attainable elsewhere.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. I think one of the other things I think you wanted to talk about was when the relationships, and they show this in the book as well, with like the kids and with her trying to get him to do things. It's both people can be at fault at the same time.
Yes. It was kind of funny because I'd been telling Ameera, I'm like, we need to find some sort of book or movie to talk about where I can talk about this, because I've been wanting to say it to a microphone for a while.
She needs a second.
And then we found My Dear Hemlock.
Okay. That's the real reason.
I'm like, it worked.
We're talking about it. We're like,
yeah.
We want to save like one sentence, so.
No. But it's just, I've wanted to talk about the idea of blame. Because when you're talking about baseline assumptions that you make that you don't think about, blame is one of them. Where the way people talk about blame in any given situation is like there's a finite amount of it, and you are splitting it up in portions to 60, everyone 40, in a given, like 70, yeah, 30. Like we're splitting it up in this situation. Yeah. So we got 3 people, 60% here, 40% here, and 0% here, and you've got 70, 10, 20, like you're just split. I had to do that math.
Yeah, like, girl.
Ameera sees me doing the math in my head.
You hesitated.
So like you're splitting up this 100% amount of blame. And because of that, when you have a situation where there's an aggressor and a victim, people hesitate to give any sort of responsibility of any kind to the victim, because you're victim blaming and decreasing blame from the aggressor.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you say that they weren't being intelligent and that this situation, while it wasn't their fault, was avoidable, because that you have now docked the aggressor from 100% to 80%.
Yeah, for example.
And like you need to fully blame them.
In the book, I think she was talking about how the woman would behave in order to lead the man to kind of like snap and like be abusive or something like that.
So that it's 100% his fault.
Yeah, and women, especially right now, your immediate reaction is like, he should never ever hit her.
Yeah.
He is 100% at fault.
Mm-hmm.
She is the victim.
Yeah, because the moment we have an aggressor and a victim, you can't blame the victim because you can't decrease any blame from the aggressor.
Don't worry, we're here to victim blame.
Yeah. The truth is that there is not a finite amount of blame, a 100% that we split up. You can have a situation where multiple people are 100% at fault.
Oh, yeah.
You got 2 people get in a fight. It's not 50-50. It's not 60-40. It's 100%. Is something that can be the case. Obviously, sometimes people are less at fault than another. Like when you're talking aggressor-victim, it is sometimes 20% victim, 100% aggressor.
Yep.
Like
for a grand
so there's 120%. Like, but it's just like you actually can have multiple people have it be completely their fault.
Yeah.
And so people are so sensitive to the victim blaming, like I'm somehow forgiving the aggressor.
It's like, no.
And I'm like, no, I am not at all.
He actually should never. So, like, for example, in, like, the case of rape.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, the man is 100% at fault.
100%.
For raping the woman. Like, never should have done that.
And that percentage never gets decreased.
No, it's like the fact that I can tell you, I'm like, well, maybe, just maybe, you should not have been walking around slightly tipsy in dark alleys at the middle of the night.
Yeah, like
maybe that was a bad
idea. Made.
Yeah, there were a string of decisions that led to this occurring.
And that does not decrease blame from him, but it does go, we could have done things to prevent that.
No, and it's not saying like, oh, this was entirely your fault, but saying like, we could have
the common line that people really, really hate on is the what were they wearing? Yeah. And people bring up that line as like evil, sexist, victim blaming. Like, I'm like, no, because they talk about it. They literally talk about it like you're forgiving the rapist. I'm like, no. In fact, I would love some heavier punishment.
Oh, yeah.
Heavier legal consequences on rapists. That would be great. As long as you also have heavy consequences on lying about rape. But I decrease absolutely no blame. However, it's like, no, we actually want to be able to talk about how girls can avoid such situations by being intelligent.
Yeah.
Which makes it a valid conversation. I believe, like, Ben Shapiro once talked about this exact thing, talking about victim blaming, and he was, like, trying to walk people through it because it's such a sensitive issue. And he's like, if I walked through a really sketchy neighborhood at night, waving my wallet above my head with, like, money sticking out of it, and I get robbed, whose fault is it? And it's like, it's 100% the robber's fault, and it's his fault for being an idiot. Like, so it's like it's their fault for being evil, and the other, it's their fault for being an idiot, and it's just, I need, like, people to be able to have conversations about how to be intelligent, how to avoid things, and not just be allergic to the idea that the victim could have ever made a mistake.
Right. And then you can have it in, like, more, like, basic household issues.
Yeah, where the wife is goading the husband into a level of anger that it's now 100% his fault. And then she just plays victim. And I'm like, it can be both of your faults.
Yeah, both of you did it.
I can go, bad job, both of you.
Yeah. We can make everybody the problem.
Yeah. There is not a limited amount of problem. Like, you're all the problem. We're not stingy with the blame.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely a temptation for women a lot of the time, is that, like, it definitely touched on this in the earlier parts of the book, is the idea of, if there is any way to blame him, it's not my fault.
Exactly.
If he did anything to cause it, it's not my fault. Like,
it's like, no. Both of you can do things. And they also talked about that a little bit when she talked about empathy. Yeah. And how women can be too empathetic. And it's like, yes, empathy is great. It's a good thing, and it's what makes women good mothers, good, all that thing. But
you only know about it by hearsay.
Yeah, I have a mother, okay? She has empathy. I might not. But there we go. I have the other problem.
We watch out for the other ditch because, this is, well, I'll go back to empathy in a second. I just saying, I liked that she talked about the fact that there are two ditches, just saying.
I agree. We love multiple ditches.
Yeah, you guard against your ditch, not other people's ditches.
Yes.
My special ditch.
But when she talked about empathy, it was like immediately believing the victim. And not hearing both sides. Not hearing both sides, but not also, like, not even considering that there could have been something else going on. Like, the victim, yes, may have been yelled at, or someone may have been nasty to her, but what did you do? Did she, like, and people really hate but what did you do? I'm like, but you do have to hear both sides before you make a decision. That is definitely a description of women's reaction to, like, victim blaming, where it's like, you cannot consider that she did anything wrong. She was, because I heard it from her, and she was completely abused. It's like, okay, you need to not just have the immediate emotional reaction.
And you shouldn't have it either way. You shouldn't have it the empathetic way of, my baby could do no wrong. She told me from her own lips. There was no possibility. Like, I'm never going to hear a word that man says because I just believe the first person who talks to me. But then there's also the opposite. And this is something that we kind of have to watch out for, especially in the current world where so many girls are liars. Like,
So many people are liars.
so many people are bad. But, like, there's so
I'm
many...
not happy.
Like, so many false accusations type stuff. You have to watch out for
Me Too stuff.
the instinct to not believe as well.
Yes.
Where you just go, they're probably lying. And I've seen this reaction in myself, and it is something to watch out for, where I have to be like, no, you still need to look at it with an objective eye. You can't just emotionally react, they're telling the 100% truth, and you can't emotionally react, they probably are totally lying. Like, you actually have to look at the situation with clear eyes.
And I think the danger of that one is it feels more rational.
Yeah, you can. It's very much the, like, the empathetic one. The empathetic one is you feel on the high horse because you're the protector of the innocent.
Right.
And the other one is you feel on your high horse because I am the rational one. I am the cynic. I know better than to just trust people. But you're trusting the other person sight unseen.
Right.
So
it's like, okay, just don't be reactive is the real lesson.
Good lessons.
Yeah. Where it's like, okay, just think it through.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear somebody and you can be sympathetic without 100% believing them.
Yeah.
And waiting for more information.
Mm-hmm. Withhold judgment.
You also don't have to just be like, you're a liar because you said a man abused you. And men never do that. Gosh.
No man has ever.
No man has ever. It's like, that's also not a wise reaction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was also a good section of the book.
Yeah, I was just talking to Marisol about this recently where she's like, I heard fill in the blank. And I was like, well, don't believe fill in the blank till you've heard the other side.
Because there's usually more than one person involved in a situation. If it's a story worth telling, there probably was more than one person there.
Yeah, for sure. And
at least when girls tell it. They're like the drama.
Most stories have at least two sides. But sometimes it's nice black and white and somebody's lying and somebody's telling the truth and it's actually really clean. And sometimes it's just a mess.
Yeah.
And you should be able to withhold judgment till you've actually heard more. And like Ameera said, that doesn't mean that you have to withhold any and all sympathy from the beginning.
No,
like,
you can still feel bad for someone.
But you shouldn't be like, I will hear no more on the subject. This just cannot be false.
Another section of the book, I think, was talking about female friendships.
Uh-huh.
And I think there was some good parts in that, talking about the different types that you have. Where the instinct to compare and be like, am I superior or am I inferior to this friend?
Yeah, constantly having to build a mental hierarchy.
Right. And it's like, just maybe not. Maybe don't do that. And having just like the levels of friends and then the insecurity with the superior ones was an interesting topic.
It definitely wasn't as... I do think that the female friendships wasn't as fleshed out as it could be, just given how much of a mess female friendships can be.
Mm-hmm.
But there is definitely different temptations. So when you're talking about having mental hierarchy, it's hard to just not think about mental hierarchy if you have that instinct of like...
Yeah, she's talking about like competitive girls definitely do that.
Yeah. But then there's not like a black and white answer all the way like to what you're supposed to do once you know, like, am I better than them or not? Because frequently you can be better in some ways and worse in others.
Most of the time.
But sometimes there are people who's just like, no, they are kind of an inferior, or some people are like, yeah, they are a superior. But different girls have different temptations. There are some girls that just immediately glue onto a superior no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And can be like way too much of a sheep.
And then there are other girls.
And then there's like other girls that it's like, yeah.
Honestly, like the Emma character in Austin,
mm-hmm.
where it's like you want the inferior friend.
Yeah, there's the one girl that everyone compares to her as like an equal, and she hates her just often. She's like, it's like, ew, I only want friends who look up to me.
Yeah, who I can shape and mold.
That I am the best person they know.
But yeah.
So it's like not clean cut and dried because everybody's got different bad instincts.
Yeah, it was a good book.
And
it's
it's
very
like you can be friends with either, though.
Yeah, true.
Like you can be friends with better and worse people in different ways.
Yeah.
It's just like you'll have your own particular temptation that you need to watch out for.
Yeah, it's a little too complicated to sum up in a chapter, I think.
Yeah, I think so. to be like, well, if she thinks they're like this, then she should do that, and it's just a whole thing. My
That
gosh.
should just be a whole book.
There should be a whole book.
Yeah.
How to have good friends as a girl.
How to have friends.
Yeah, we're good at this. I feel like I've seen comments before on like Instagram that are guys like challenge girls have friends and don't hate each other level impossible.
Yeah.
No, we have friends. We're joking.
friends.
We have friends.
We're not toxic. I promise.
But yeah, it can be funny though, figuring it out. I think it might need its own book.
Yeah, I thought it was a good book. Definitely good to have one. I think that's specific towards women because the flaws are not exactly the same. Screwtape is also excellent.
Mm-hmm. Screwtape.
I feel like Screwtape is for men and women. I feel like My Dear Hemlock.
More for girls.
More for girls.
I mean, a guy could read it and be like, oh, that's how girls work.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm like, it might be helpful, actually. Just to
if
be
women
like,
confuse you.
If women confuse
Though
you.
you might just be further confused.
You're like,
why do they do this?
Why do they think like this? It's like, ask God, I guess.
Yeah, it was artistic choices.
Yeah.
But yeah, Screwtape left me like many Lewis books do with, wow, that man was smart. But also, especially the ending, because the very ending, there's like an epilogue type thing, which is Screwtape giving, I believe, a toast at the graduation of the Tempters College or whatever. And it left me being like, yes, it is funny to read old things and be like, oh, where we are now was completely predictable to an intelligent person.
Oh, yeah.
Decades and decades ago.
He had good eyesight, could see down the slide.
Yeah.
You know?
It's kind of funny because that's a fallacy, is the slippery slope fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be kind of difficult because you have to distinguish between a slippery slope fallacy and just correct.
And just a real slippery slope.
Because some things are slippery slopes, and if you talk to people before it happens, they'll go, you're crazy. Like, that's ridiculous. And then you get on the slide, and you're like, oh, crap, we did end up there. I believe our grandfather has been told such things where people are like, no, that is crazy. Not like, you're so extreme, and then give it like 2 years. And it's like, we're there.
Yay.
And those are shorter but very slippery slides. But Lewis's end of Screwtape was writing about democracy and equity. And how in the name of democracy, we will punish excellence. And how, like, you won't be able to like split people up in schools or encourage greatness of any kind, because no one who is born into a bad situation will be able to get out of it, because no one will let them out, because that'll make the kids left behind feel bad. And like, you can't have smart students, that'll make the dumb students feel bad. You can't have great athletes, that'll make the bad athletes feel bad. And like, you can't and this idea of just destroying excellence, which is rampant in America right now. And it's an ongoing battle. It's not like...
It's not over
It's
yet.
not a total lost cause. But you look around and you're like, ooh, this is... The fact that so many schools are just attacking literally grades, having grades, because it'll make kids feel bad.
Right.
For being dumb. And like...
Like, when do you remove parts of the LSAT because women do worse in it? Just like...
It's like, hold up.
So the logic games are actually there for a reason. Logic is good.
We like logic. But yeah, it's just funny. It's obviously a lot longer a section than that brief summary, but it's just funny reading that being like, I can't believe that it was spottable then.
Right.
And he did like to talk about in the name of democracy, but don't let them think about what democracy is. It just has to be democracy is what I like.
Just say the words.
Fairness.
Fairness, equality.
Fairness, equality.
Love it.
Trigger words.
Well, there we go. I think Screwtape, My Dear Hemlock, both excellent books.
Yeah, I'm trying to
recommend
think of...
both of them. Do you have any other thoughts?
Well, I was just trying to think because I read Screwtape right before My Dear Hemlock, and I'm trying to remember the chunks of Screwtape that I enjoyed. Screwtape, I did like the part, and this one is very applicable to both genders, is the idea of never regarding your own tone and always reading into other people's tone. So if someone goes, you said that really nastily, you go, I literally just said this. And it's like word for word. Because he was talking about the patient's relationship with his mother and trying to destroy that relationship. And he's like, always use nasty tones and refuse to think about your own tone. Because I literally just said that. I like, literally, how can she read into that? But then always be reading into her tone of like, she said it meanly. Like, and because that's definitely a mistake that a lot of people make.
Hypersensitive towards other people, but not
at all about yourself.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy.
Love it.
Both books have good discussion on prayer. So.
Yeah, I feel like some of it is good to read about just because it makes you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, oh, it just brings you a type of awareness that you might not have had, where you just kind of do some mechanical motions, especially if you were raised a Christian.
Yeah, because you have a lot of mechanical motions.
Yeah, where there's things you do, things you just like you read your Bible, you pray, and then it's just like you do the things. It's like this little like checklist you have, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so having a book where it talks about the issues that you can fall into just raises your consciousness a little bit. To be like...
Yeah, because if you've been doing something since you were 3, you might not have thought it through at any point.
Yeah,
so.
and it helps make it your own in a certain way and develop an actual relationship with God.
Both books also hit on dangers of, like, specifically worse friends or more worldly friends.
Yeah.
Where among your worldly friends, you can feel superior for being the Christian.
Mm-hmm.
But then among your Christian friends, you feel superior for knowing more about the world. And they're just, so naive and in their bubble and, like... It's actually a very unhealthy place to be.
I think any place of like extreme superiority is...
Yeah, if you feel really pleased about yourself, now's the time to reassess.
Just stop.
Just stop. And that doesn't mean like, self-diss.
No,
I do believe an analogy of my childhood that stuck with me was my grandfather's in a sermon talking about how self-love and self-loathing are both self-absorption.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, if you've got a TV in your brain, whether you're a superstar or a worm, you shouldn't be in the center of the screen.
So. I also remember that. I also remember I think it's from Mere Christianity, the quote, where it's like, humility isn't thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less.
I can't remember which book talked on that. I think it was Screwtape. Because Lewis does like this, which is the idea of encouraging your patient to the self-loathing and to think less of his talents.
Yeah. And
it's like, that isn't humility. Like, lying about your skills is not humility.
No.
Like, not taking advantage of the talents God gave you, not humility. It's think more of others, less of yourself, not...
I think it's just focusing more on action and doing.
Mm-hmm.
Is really helpful in that, and thinking
rather than
more of
just
other people.
Thinking about yourself.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Well, I think that's all we had to say. Do you have anything else to say?
If you haven't read either book, you should read both books.
Both are good.
We always advise thinking. Generally.
Yeah,
because
thinking's great.
There are way, way, way too many ditches.
My dad a pee in there somewhere. Like ditches.
There are way too many ditches in this world that are merely a result of not thinking.
Right.
So having books that are going over things that you don't think about.
Yeah, it's easy to be apathetic about things. And it's like just to get away from the apathy. Just
know what you're doing.
Just consider it.
Try thinking. That's the advice of the day.
Try thinking. All right.
I try it every once in a
while.
With
that, we're gone.